Can you all hear me all right?
Talk as loud as you can.
You can hear me all right? Okay, you can hear me all right. We are talking today to, of course, the choir, but I am talking right now as well to elected leaders from all parties, from both sides of the aisle. My name's Roberta, Motherway Bondurant. I come from Bent Mountain. For the last 30 years, have raised children there. Before that, from the great ocean state of Rhode Island. My father was a Republican state senator, a career United States Marine officer who traveled from the tenements from Providence, Rhode Island to Vietnam as an enlisted officer, to the State House of the Senate as a Republican senator, through the Naval Academy, and in 26 years of service. There is a coming together of those places that my parents taught me. They were Catholic, and they taught me and my 7 siblings that Catholic meant universal. And so as we talk about no new pipelines, what we're talking about is energy needs, real energy needs, that we are not going to let the need for energy, the need to power our people, devour the whole. Not the whole, not the people, and not the water that they depend on. So I want to talk about people, and thanks to our staff from POWHR, from the Blue Ridge Environmental Defense League, from Virginia Organizing, for being there to back us through the 8 years that we have fought this pipeline. And we won't let our allies go this alone. No matter what happens with MVP, we will keep on, as we have vowed to keep on for the last 8 years.
Woo! Woo!
Bill Karam of the Pipeline Safety Trust on the 23rd of this month released a statement that talked about the danger of these pipes on the Mountain Valley Pipeline. There are thousands of pipes above ground that are rotting and corroding on the road and have been for years. What investors ought to know in this project is that there is no tolerable infrastructure, that MVP will be required, because we will demand that they be required, to remove the thousands of pipes from the road that have been rotting in wetlands and water because they aggressively forwarded that pipe in the midst of court battles to the right-of-way, petulantly to message, in my mind, the judicial and administrative branches that they were going to do what they want and that they were going to get their way. And that's not how it works in a democracy.
Right on.
What is especially offensive to our folks is that anyone, a corporation, a corporate person, that anyone would think that they have the power, and not even one single senator, to block the courthouse doors. That's 1/3 of a democracy.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the meat of the democracy that lives next to those rotting pipelines. And by the way, there are experts who've been talking for years, since the ending of the KXL, who described the KXL pipes that are, and they were in the same condition that the MVP pipes are in now, rotting in southern Appalachian humid climate. I'll go back. The discussion of no inspection, that was essentially no inspection until dropping those pipes into the ground. And the Senate and Congress need to understand that in order to let that go forward, to push MVP forward, is to promise explosions for landowners who live along the right-of-way. Who are those people? They are people from the environmental justice community. I want to first say thank you to our friends from Amherst County, Matt and Sally Latimer, who lead the Monacan Nation. And we have had these folks and tribal preservation officers from the Siouan Nation recognize that the lands of the MVP are the lands of Siouan ancestral people. And we have worked for years to recognize that, to document it, and to preserve those sacred places. Yet MVP, when they learned of it in the spring of 2018, as Red Terry was on her own property in the trees, MVP put archaeologists across sacred ground along Mill Creek and Bent Mountain and gutted a sacred ancestral site. Bent Mountain is just a microcosm of the environmental justice communities along the MVP. In 4.5 miles, we have 8 families: disabled, elderly, people of color, people of modest and low income. And this is the route that MVP picked. There was no mistake about it. There's no mistake about the fact that MVP and other companies prey on people who they think are vulnerable. But these folks have stood up, and they'll continue to. I want to especially honor our friend, a man who passed 2 days a year ago, Fred Vest, who was drafted as a 17-year-old. And the hardships that this man faced as a younger person are unspeakable. But he was drafted by his country, and he did what he thought was the right thing. He went to Vietnam to serve. He served with ground troops. I'll also mention alongside that George Jones from Giles County ought to be mentioned alongside of him as a Seabee who was proud of his own work. Fred went, Fred served, Fred came home. He found what he ultimately called his paradise ranch. And sadly, he died there of stroke-related symptoms. He went to the hospital within a week of MVP entering his property with earth-moving vehicles, and he passed on the 25th of September. We appreciate his work and we honor his memory. Thank you.